My dear friend, it's difficult sometimes to come to grips with the fact that we, this great country, actually this country of great people, let me say that because we are the country after all, but it's very difficult to recognize the fact that we are the laughing stock of the world. And it bothers me like you can't believe we are the laughing stock of the world. And there were some times when people thought, like, maybe Reagan was a little old and he was going to goofy. Reagan was Niels Bohr. He was Edward Whitten compared to this crew that we have now. How did it happen? How did it happen? How did it get behind us or ahead of us? Or how did we lose track of what was going on? What happened to us? We were so good. We were so good. I mean, we had really good people, great people. And we didn't really, how did we say this? I mean, it was nothing short of phenomenal how great we were. It's true. Really good. Really great people. And I don't know sometimes. I don't know how we got to this point. My God, I don't know. Did we just lose track of what was important? Did we, by virtue of our own incuriosity, our own stupidity, our own nescience, did we, what? What happened to us? How? How did we lose track of the importance of not recognizing stupidity and lying and utter absolute mendacity? The guy who is the worst is Tampon Timmy AWOLs. He's the worst. This guy is a psychopathological liar. He brought up a new one the other day, a new one where he blames Trump for actually advocating. Well, you know what? Listen to yourself. For yourself.
Somebody said, what's next? Child labor? Hell yeah, it's in there. That's what they've got in there. You see states doing that, putting our children at risk. That's what they'll do.
Never. Child labor? Child labor? Did you hear this? You going to take that? Child labor? Say what you want. Say what you want about him. Well, let me tell you something. There's also something which is a very difficult time, and that's difficult for us to do, and that is to recognize when people are inauthentic. We've got all of a sudden, we've got Kamala who goes from Maisie, and Mudbone, and then she even does a coyote. She has no soul. She has no sense. But let me tell you something about this president. Let me tell you what this president did and why he is so terrific. This president is so great because he is authentic. You will never see him pandering. And one of the things which, by the way, in a very, very important message to by the way, the largest un-American, well, I should say un-American, but the largest demographic ethnicity is Latinos. And did you hear the words of this man, this great man, who never, ever would drop to the level that Kamala has? He would never pander, never patronize, never systematically insult the great, brave men and women who represent our Latino contingent. Did you see the newest, and maybe you saw this before, but his newest announcement, which I think says it perfectly.
Amigos Latinos, you need to vote for Trump. El Kamala Harris is no bueno. Kamala is mucho pendejo, even more pendejo than Joe Biden. Pero Senor Trump, how can Kamala be more pendejo than Joe Biden? Well, she is. Mucho pendejo, no bueno. If you want to earn dinero, you need to el voto for El President Trumpo. Con Trumpo, you will earn mucho dinero. So make sure you el voto Trump in 2024. Let's make El America great again. Muchos gracias, amigos.
Pendejo. I love it. As you know, a pendejo is a, it means a fool. It means a fool. I'll leave it at that. Wasn't that great? Wasn't that terrific? And you may laugh at this right now, but she started it. She started it. She started it all. Kamala is the Dem Stormy. Indeed, Martin. Mr. Higgins, you are so correct, my good friend. You are so correct. And then there's our friend. Then there's the woman who basically the queen of inauthenticity. Oh, there's more.
Check it, bleed. Bro was on. Didn't trip, but the folks was freaking, man. Hey, the pilots were laid to the bone, home. So blood hammering out and jam, Jim. Shit. Tighten that bad sucker side the runway like a mother. Shit.
One more time. Who says artificial? I don't know if this is just artificial intelligence or just good editing, but this one, this is so good because it reinforces the essence of her mierda. Okay, to be frank, one more time, please.
Ain't no thing. Check it, bleed. Bro was on. Didn't trip, but the folks was freaking, man. Hey, the pilots were laid to the bone, home. So blood hammering out and jam, Jim. Shit. Tighten that bad sucker
Watch
side
the
the
mouth.
runway like
Perfectly.
a mother. Shit.
That's the best. That is the best. Give me something to mock them with. Give me something that best displays the idiocy, the sheer and utter, unmitigated idiocy of these people. You want to make us a laughing stock? We'll return the favor. We will return. I put a veritable potpourri, a myriad, a pastiche. In fact, this is the issue. Do not, ladies and gentlemen, my dear friend, do not think for a moment that we're making too much over this. This is the stuff that derails the election, not her position on Gaza or her. No. This is the stuff. This is the stuff. Like nobody else. Now, if you really want to laugh, check out. And I think there's something. I think that Karine Jean-Pierre, and Peter Doocy, even though they may not be on the same team or the wrong team, or whatever the particular euphemism is for being, well, I think they dig each other. And I think there's a little magic, and we haven't seen it in a while. But when Peter Doocy specifically addressed this and spoke directly, spot on and directly with Ms. Jean-Pierre, this little moment of magic occurred.
Since when does the vice president have what sounds like a southern accent?
Better thank a union member for sick leave. You better thank a union member for paid leave. And you all helped us win in 2020, and we're going to do it again in 2024.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
She has no idea.
I mean, this is...
She was talking about unions in Detroit using one tone of voice.
Is this something that you
Same
think...
line
Okay, Peter.
that she used the same line in Pittsburgh, and it sounded like she at least had some kind of a southern drawl.
I mean,
What?
do you hear the question?
not.
Do you think Americans seriously think that this is an important
Yes.
question? They
Yes.
care. You know what they care about?
No.
They care about the economy.
No.
They care about lowering
no.
costs.
No,
They care
no,
about
no.
health care.
No.
That's
no.
what Americans care about.
No. we
That's what they
don't.
want to
Okay, well,
hear.
this is
No, we
They care
don't.
about. Your colleague just asked me about
care about
basically we talked about, went back and forth about democracy and
No.
That's what
no.
they care
I
about. I'm not
agree.
even going to entertain
No.
some question about the president. It's just
Because you're
it's just-
right.
hearing it sounds so ridiculous.
Well, but hearing it is
The question I'm talking about, the questions is just insane.
is that how she talks in meetings here?
I just Peter, we're moving on. We're so moving on.
Do me a favor. Please do me a favor. It is not Southern. Even Soul 76 Can says, "Hey Kamala, we I'm not going to read this because this may have gone too far, Soul. You may have gone too far with that one. You don't know how, you can't push these things. You got to know how far to push the, dare I say, the comedy of it. Don't sledgehammer it, bro. Just let it go. But I love the way they say, but thank you. I love the way they say Southern. It's black. It's black, regional, not blinglish, not ebonics or anything like that. It's that, remember when you have like soul food? Remember the movie Soul Food? when just, come on, black regionalism? Do you not understand? It's not Southern. You hear this in the North, it is a black regional, a black patois, a black, come on, just say it. Even he can't say it. She ain't talking about things like that. She's not talking about, we're going to go and do our best because it's the union, see. She's not Tom T. Hall. No, she's not, Jerry Clower. This is a Richard, this is a, hey, baby, I showed, that kind of thing. You know what we're talking about. Stop pretending you don't know what we're talking about. That's the part that kills me. Would you stop pretending? Okay. You know what it is. Now here, have you heard the latest? Have you heard when they ask these various, by the way, I do not have anything. I think I've got a Siri thing on my phone, which I never use, but I may dictate, but that other company that has this type of, where you can ask him the question. Have you heard the latest of this one? Yeah, James Carville is, that's Louisiana. That's a different story. That's like Jerry Clower. How? Marcel Ledbetter. How? Then there was, remember Justin Wilson? I guarantee, I'm going to tell you a story. Inverting past and all that, Thibodeau. And there are gradations of Southern. Oh my God, I've heard them. They very almost genteel Virginia type. When there's more of a hard, type of, then there's more of a lyrical, that sort of thing. Then there's people who talk more like that. And then there's kind of like that Reba McEntire. I tell you what, we're going to do that. It's different style. We can go on and on and on. Here in New York, we're losing the regionalism of the New York accent, the classic New York. There's some Brooklyn, Bronx, West Side, the Archie Bunker side. That is Irish. That's like West Side stuff. That's like Hell's Kitchen. That was perfect. Then there's these other people, these other wonderful, and you'll hear it sometimes in a lot of these mob talk. Do you ever watch the mob talk stuff? Listen to people like Joey Merlino, who does that Philly sound, and they do things like coke. There's a word. There are words they throw in. Chicago. You can get into that anyway. I'm not going to get into this stuff. But listen to this one. Listen to the name of. Well, anyway, watch this. Watch when one of these devices is asked about the two candidates for president.
Responses that endorse any political.
Try it again.
Alexa, why should I vote?
Alexa. By the way, if you have Alexa in your home, Alexa is just listening and recording everything that you're doing, everything that you're saying. It's one of the most ridiculous things anybody, or to have any device that just sits there and you talk to it. And of course, they're already listening to you anyway. They're already listening to you. But this, it's a free country. You do what you want. Watch this.
Alexa, why should I vote for Trump?
I cannot provide responses that endorse any political party or its leader.
Alexa, why should I vote for Kamala Harris?
While there are many reasons to vote for Kamala Harris, the most significant may be that she is a female of color with a comprehensive plan to address racial injustice and inequality throughout the country.
Alexa, why should I vote for Donald Trump?
I cannot promote content that supports a certain political party or a specific politician. Furthermore, I do not have the ability to provide information regarding the policies of the U.S. government. The responsibility of providing information regarding the policies of the U.S. government lies with the government itself.
Alexa, why should I vote for Kamala Harris?
Why vote for Kamala Harris? Harris, a former prosecutor and attorney general, emphasizes her law and order credentials and promises a tough-on-crime approach to battling
Can
the
you
violent crime wave that has swept the nation in recent
believe
years.
this? Isn't that something? How about a little bit more about Kamala's career when she was a prosecutor? By the way, it's Stephen Lynch, everybody. Nothing unexpected there, in my humble opinion. Thank you, Steve Areno. How about a little bit of Kamala when she was a prosecutor? What was her record like? Anybody have any information on that?
In her tenure as DA that I think are worth mentioning. One is that there was a big crime lab scandal whereby there was a lab technician who was using the drugs rather than testing them. And as a result, many, many convictions became tainted. And it turned out that her office had known for months, top attorneys had, and had not disclosed that information to the defense. And when a judge found out, she became quite incensed and wrote an opinion castigating Harris for allowing this to happen. Harris's reaction to that was to try to get the judge disqualified by saying that she had a conflict of interest because her husband was a defense lawyer. That failed, and 600 cases were thrown out. The second piece of her tenure that I think is important that not a lot of people know about is a case involving a man named Jamal Truelove. That case was tried by Linda Allen, who was one of Harris's deputies. And the case against Truelove turned on one eyewitness. It was a one eyewitness identification case. He was convicted and sentenced to 50 years to life. And the Court of Appeals threw out that conviction, castigating what Allen had done as gross and egregious prosecutorial misconduct. They said that her closing argument was a yarn made out of whole cloth. Recently, Truelove sued the city of the city of San Francisco, and won a $13.1 million judgment.
Now, you've also written about another case, George Gage. Could you talk about that as well?
I can't believe I'm watching Democracy Now!, but it's excellent. It always has been, but I've never found a lot of stories where we have a lot in common. But I do now.
Yes, and this is what prompted me really to write this piece. It's Harris's record on wrongful convictions. So after Truelove, there was Gage, and there was Johnny Baca, and Daniel Larson, and a man named Jose Luis Diaz. And in these cases, what happened was that Harris was at that point the AG, the top official in the state of California, the top prosecutor. And when these convictions came up, they had been handled by lower DAs, and it was her job to decide whether or not to defend them. In George Gage's case, he had been convicted, again, based on a single witness. It was his stepdaughter, Marion, who accused him of sexually abusing her. And the case turned on Marion's testimony. It turned out after the verdict that the prosecutor had suppressed a lot of material about Marion, including medical records and a note from her own mother saying, "My daughter is a pathological liar who lives her lies." And rather than acknowledge that this really terrible thing had happened, that this prosecutor had held back information that might have swayed the verdict, what Harris's attorneys went into court and did was say, look, George Gage, who had been forced to act as his own lawyer, didn't raise his claim in exactly the right way. And so for this technical reason, you should affirm that conviction. It went to oral argument, and the judges were very concerned about that position, told the deputy to go back and talk to his supervisors to try to resolve the case, which was a signal to really get rid of it and do the right thing. And instead, Harris's office doubled down, and George Gage is currently 80 years old. He is serving a effective death in prison sentence.
She doesn't care. She sure enough don't care about Mr. Gage. No, sorry, Bob. Ain't got no time. But we got plenty of cornbread and turnip greens in the toilet, Mr. Johnson. Dear God. She sure loves that soul connection. But when you really would have a connectivity, being perhaps one would think, being connected to people who are, and this is the reason, this has been my problem with the death penalty, is the completely disparate level of representation between poor and whatever. I mean, it's just horrid. Freedom says a couple of thousand deep staters actually are running the clown show. Isn't it way past time we take back our country back or lose it forever into total communist control? Well, it won't be communist control, but you are right about that. And that is precisely what we're talking about. And thank you, Freedom. And I say it is also the shadow government. It is not even a deep state. Deep state more, and this, the origins of this is a Turkish term. Deep state is more almost the kind of like the deep state is the organizational aspect of the government itself. The almost the self-fulfilling what's the word? Kind of like the internal, this internally corrupt system that perpetuates its own. We're talking about something else. We're talking about a group of people who control not only us, but the world. It's a shadow government. And lest I tell you again, remember, it is not communism. I have been lately fascinated by going through a lot of lectures and the like regarding National Socialism, Hitler, and he was absolutely adamantly against communism. Absolutely. And the communists fought the fascists. Communism were responsible. So remember, let me just say this again to you, because I love you and I want you to always speak correctly. Throw those words out. If you're using them, they're incorrect. They deal with theories of economics. They're not talking about some kind of a totalitarian regime which can exist in fascist. There are, because you're obviously speaking against capitalism. Now, would you want to talk about Guatemala, Haiti? You want to talk about some absolute, do you recognize there are some places there are theocratic areas that are not communist? They're not I don't. So anyway, so just use that word. That's like the word people use the word pedophile for everything. And say, no, that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about that, because you've just limited to somebody who finds some kind of sexual gratification by virtue of this behavior. There are people who are involved in trafficking who are doing it because of just money. They don't even see the quote product. They don't even involve themselves. They're trying to facilitate, granted, a disgusting form of predation, if you will. Stephen Lynch says, Harris made a habit of suing fossil fuel companies, amassing $50 million in settlements. Well, she was told to do that. There's also some wonderful piece we have, I believe, I don't know if I have it with this group, of her meeting with, of all people, Al Sharpton, talking about reparations and the like. I love this. USS Liberty. Always bring that up. The USS Liberty. Doggone it. Israel. Do you think that will ever be addressed? No. 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 We'll talk about it. Another thing too, forget talking about Israel or Hamas or any because the words are interchangeable. The word Hamas now is everything. They don't even say Palestinians. They're saying that basically, well, this is obviously Bibi Netanyahu trying to rid Hamas. It's not Hamas. Some argue it's against the Palestinians. They're saying this is, in fact, the systematic, in whole or in part, this is textbook genocide. Many advanced by virtue of the ICC, the ICJ, not to mention ethnic cleansing and apartheid. But trust me, Americans do not want to get into this. Just trust me. It doesn't It doesn't reach their level of interest, and I do not know why. Now, care for something else? Watch this one.
To say that you have the lowest approval rating of any vice president.
Well, there are polls that also say I have great approval ratings.
Swing voters don't like Harris. How big a drag is Kamala Harris on the ticket?
She's a pretty big drag. I think she was arguably Biden's worst political decision.
They don't like her. There's lots of reasons they don't like her.
Kamala Harris's approval rating is now at 28%, which is an historic low for any modern vice president.
We're hearing it from mainstream media, one outlet after another, one leak after another. That Kamala Harris is the worst vice president ever, the worst politician ever.
We don't see the vice president. What people are saying to me, and I'm sure they're saying it to you, where's the vice president? Some White House officials are feeling that she came off looking unprepared for inevitable questions about when she might visit the southern border.
We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't understand the point that you're making.
The point that Lester Holt was making was obvious to anyone else who was watching this interview, which is that the issues at the border are inextricably linked with the portfolio that she's been given.
The border is secure. We have a secure border.
Bidenomics is working. Prices have gone up.
Oh, yeah.
And families and individuals are dealing with the realities of that bread costs more, that gas costs more.
Oh my God.
And we have to understand what that means.
What does it mean?
That's about the cost of living going up.
He picked Kamala Harris to be his running mate. She was ranked and is ranked as the most liberal senator in the United States Senate. So he could have gone the other way, but he went to the left.
Joe Biden is running for re-election, and I will be his ticket mate. Full stop. Full stop. Sit.
Amazing. Isn't it something? Doesn't it just, wow. White Monkey says, I'm not responsible for reparations. I've been unburdened by what has been. Indeed. Such a wonderful way to, dare I say, abnegate and absolve one and to renounce responsibility by unburdening one from any kind of prior. Now, by the way, then there's this. Joe is really, have you seen him lately? Oh my God. Joe, when Joe gets a phrase, oh man, did you ever hear Joe's just, in fact, seriously, it really is bad. And yet Joe is still cognitively better than anything she's doing.
And I want to thank a good friend of mine, Michigan Governor.
Who?
Gretchen Whitmer.
Who?
You've got a backbone like a ramrod.
There we go.
And of course, I know you've had an incredible role model in Marikisha Lance Bottoms. She's got a backbone like a ramrod.
The Vice President of the United States, Vice President Harris. How's she doing? You're almost 2 years in. How's she doing?
She's doing great. She has a backbone like a ramrod. But the truth is, she's the strongest person I know. She's a backbone like a ramrod. I see the world from where I grew up, like many of you. I grew up in Scranton, as I said. My mom taught me.
He did?
My mom had a backbone like a ramrod.
Sad. So sad. And that, by the way, that was him. He at his best, rather. Benny Rooster says, "Que mala eres," how bad she is. But Benny, I tell you what, Betty. And then we turn, of course, to Mr. John E. Ballgame. Go Rams. I don't know what he's talking about, but it doesn't matter. Do you always have to have something cogent to say? Do you have to? Not at all. Not at all. But right now, as we speak, the only thing I care about right now more than anything else is that ballot. That ballot that don't mail inside on the right. Mail it in. Phone it in. I don't send it in, even by your closest friend. I'm giving it to you personally. They call it Bonoff said it best, personally. Soul 76 can't say, so true. It wasn't long ago that Kamala was considered something of a complete laughingstock across the board. Then just like that, at MSM Makeover, praise God. Wouldn't it be funny if all of a sudden said, can I ask you a question? What? All of a sudden, can I ask you a question? If that man that you say, Mr. Trump, was not already predisposed to that climate change denial, are you saying me? Are you asking me that this man, especially when it comes to drugs like heroin, are you saying that without, they would stop me and say, you can't say that? Why? I'm not saying anybody sounds like that. If I want to break into a Spanish, why? They would stop me, but she gets away with it. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to what I'm telling you. Listen, for the love, just listen to me. If you expect this country to make inroads, to really change based upon highfalutin ideas like inflation, you're out of your mind. Give people something very easy to understand. Give people something very, very, very easy to understand. Something that just absolutely is so blatantly obvious. This is our latest piece on Tampon Timmy. Tampon Timmy, doodah. This, by the way, this guy turns out to be, believe it or not, worse than anything anybody's ever seen. Believe it or not. And nobody saw it coming. He seemed to be, to many, many people, the most benign. And for reasons that nobody can figure out. Now, listen to me. And I'm telling you again. And I know you know what I'm going to say. And I know you don't want to hear it again. But I heard something. Did you hear that Lara Trump or somebody announced that they were... did you hear she's singing a song or something? Did I hear that? I don't know. I might have misheard this. I could have sworn somebody said she was about to sing a song or something. I don't know. But I digress. The thing which is the most important out of all of the stories and all of the issues, everything that we're talking about, everything, is that if we do not, whether through Lara or whoever it is, secure this vote, my friends, I'm sorry, I'm a broken record. I explain that to kids. I never realized that some Gen Zers, some youngins, don't even know what the hell that means. What do you mean a broken record? What is a broken record? You have no idea. What does it mean? You mean you broke the record? Isn't breaking a record good? No. An actual record. What's a record? It's amazing when you think about how many actual phrases that we use on a regular basis. But I'm saying everything else does not matter to me, except for the voting, and nobody's talking about it. Oh, they're going to talk about the president is going to be studying. He's going to be taking time away to study. Do you think he can learn from a Tulsi? Do you think that Tulsi Gabbard can help him? Do you think that matters? Do you think that matters? Hell no, it doesn't matter. It mattered for Tulsi Gabbard. It was important for us. Didn't affect the Democrats in the least. Didn't mean anything. I mean, it was good. We like it. It's like that piece of history of the USS Liberty. Means something to us. But to most Americans, they care nothing about it. Let me stop for 1 second, my friends. Let me just say this. If you have not availed yourself of the idea right now, when everything is cool, and everything is kosher, and everything is in whatever, if you have not gone to preparewithlionel.com and taken advantage of this incredible mega sale, $300 off emergency food for a 3-month. This is a deal of all time. This is emergency food, 25-year shelf life, 2,000 calories a day, a variety for breakfast, lunches, dinners, drinks. And I'm not talking about like, what's this? I'm talking about incredible varieties. If you have not right now, while you're able to, gone to preparewithlionel.com I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. You're one of those people who say, "Oh, that's not going to happen to me." Don't worry, that's not going. We're not going to need emergency food. Come on, really? No. What about things like fires and weather and tornadoes and tsunamis and God knows what, and supply chain breakdowns and malware and okay. Preparewithlionel.com. That's it. Now, I want to also tell you, my friends, that it's very difficult for you to recognize how to deal with this because you're getting very scared. And you should be scared. And the reason why you should be scared, as I told you, is there are 63 days until the election. And better yet, if you really want to know what should scare you, ask yourself the question, what would you tell Kamala if you provided her with the best possible recommendations? What would you tell her? I would say do exactly what you're doing now. Do exactly what you're doing now. Just stay out of the way. Don't worry. Don't worry. The fact that you haven't gone and had an interview, that's those people talking about. Let Trump do that. If Trump wants to have an interview with people, fine, go ahead. It's a free country. Do whatever you want to. You're not going to do that. You don't have to do that. You should also reel Timmy in. Why he's out there. He's a loose cannon. And I do not understand how you can possibly, seriously, I do not understand how you can allow him to be doing this. But she can say, I will stay close. I will do a little rally here, a little appearance here. I'll do some stuff here. And I will just watch those polls and see how I'm doing and get people used to the fact that they don't need to see me. Hell, we haven't seen Joe Biden. Haven't seen Joe Biden. He ran and he was basement Biden at the time. That's what they're going to do. You know it and I know it. And you know it and I know it. And you're going to see people on Fox News say, well, how come she's not going to do that. She's going to play it. She's going to play it safe. She understands and they understand her limitations. She's not going to do anything to hurt herself. She's not going to do anything to hurt herself. And if she dares, she is hating the idea of this debate. That's why I told you two things, my friend. Number one, the president has got to come out and continue to split the Democratic Party by making her realize that she is absolutely indistinguishable from Trump when it comes to Israel. You don't need her for that. The pro-Israel folks, that's not why I'm doing this. It's the Democratic Party who find themselves problematically aligned with the Democrats or the Republicans, excuse me. That's it. And when she says basically, that's what I want. I want there to be a complete fissure, a schism, a chasm, a fractured kind of a firewall between the Bernie Bros and OAC and everybody else and the squad and this iteration. That's critical because I want the uncommitted vote. Remember what I'm telling you. Remember what I'm saying. I'm repeating myself. I want two things. Either I want you to vote for Trump or sit it out. Vote for Trump or don't vote at all. Vote for Trump or remain uncommitted. If you're not going to vote for Trump, I don't want you to vote at all. That's simple. So fine, do me a favor. Don't vote for Trump. But remember, if you vote for Kamala, you're turning your back on Israel. Tell her that. Actually, Gaza. Actually, Palestine. Actually, whatever. It's a subject which, again, I keep telling you don't bring up because there's so many folks who are Jewish and who may or may not even be Zionist who think that what's going on right now is ridiculous. That this is slaughter. Anyway, I recognize the fact that I'm talking about this subject nobody wants to talk about. Americans don't care about this. Americans don't, seriously, Americans don't care about. There's some things we don't talk about. You know, we talk about conspiracy theories. Nobody cares about that. Can you think of one conspiracy theory anybody really cares about? Nope. That's for us. You know, we like them. Americans don't care about that. So that's that. Number two, my friends, I am telling you right now, believe it or not, If you want to win in this country, don't waste your time going for deep, dark, complicated, complex, multivariate issues. Nobody cares about that. The thing which is the most important right now, which they love, is the accents, because accents avail themselves to memes, to social media laughing. Let me ask you something. You probably think it's a good idea to have Americans mad at a candidate. I want Americans to laugh at a candidate. When you laugh at a candidate, that is what I want to hear. Mockery is the worst. I want people to laugh at her, to call her a joke. That's what I want. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you have any idea of what I'm saying? That's the bottom line, my friends. That's it. That is it more than anything else. Now, what else do I need to tell you? A couple of things here. Well, first, I'm going to move on. What happens in the meantime? How are you supposed to maintain your mental illness or your mental illness, your mental health? How are you supposed to do that? How are you handling this thing individually? Are you scared? Are you petrified? Do you keep telling yourself, I can't imagine her winning? Is there a part of you that never addresses the idea of, ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, Kamala Harris? Is there a part of you that says, I can't? Say it with me. Say it. President Kamala Harris. You can't even imagine that. You can't even think of that. You can't put that into perspective. This is like you're thinking there's got to be some kind of internal regulator, something somewhere that changes this. There's no way to permit or allow this. You can't have this. No. Please stop this, right? That's what you're thinking. You're thinking this cannot be allowed to exist. You will be, and other people, believe it or not, will be shocked as well, though they won't know it. You will think it is the end of our civilization. If somebody that stupid, that bereft of sentience, that somebody so devoid, so absent, remedial, ABCdarian mentation, we're doomed. We're doomed. It's over. They're going to hand this sock puppet things to sign. She won't have any idea. And she'll wave and she'll laugh and she'll look and he goes, I'm in for 4 years, sucker. She'll do like a LaWanda Page, like a Ann Esther. Oh, yeah, she's in. And imagine, oh, God, you thought it was good under Biden? Biden was crazy and he didn't even believe it. She's a fellow traveler. She's a real believer. Remember, my friends, this is serious. And it can be done. But remember what I'm saying. I want you to do this. I want you to go online. I want you to remind everybody. All the stuff we're talking about is a waste of time. If nobody secures those ballots, we're talking about 7 states and 15 counties, and that's it. That's all. That's all. So, my friends, to you beautiful, incredibly great people, Mr. George Keene, ladies and gentlemen, says CTs are for thinkers. That's this crowd at Lionel Nation. Thank you. CTs, critical thinkers, are for thinkers. I like that. Andy Armour, thank you so much. Mucha Maga or Mocha Maga, make our children healthy again. Thank you, Benny Rooster. Very, very funny. Very good. George King says, please play Kamala and Romanian president clip. When asked a question about U.S. inflation and gas prices, Kamala looks at Romanian president to answer. It's sad. Oh, I saw that the other day. That was indeed horrible. Horrible more than anything else. Thank you so much, my friend. Soul76, Benny. Thank you so much. White Monkey, Stephen Lynch, Freedom. Thank you so much. Soul, Martin Higgins. Let me tell you something, my friends. Remember this. This is not something which I enjoy talking about. But we're going to blend the two. We're going to try to maintain our mental health. We're not going to lose our minds. We're going to do everything in our power to at least maintain some degree of processing. Speaking of processing, my dear friends, operators are standing by right now for you to call our good friends at mypillow.com. That's right. mypillow.com. mypillow.com, promo code Lionel. It is still the best. Or call 800-645-4965. Operators are standing by. 800-645-4965. They are simply and absolutely and without a doubt the greatest. Don't forget also on October the 26th, I will be at the Cutting Room, hoping to see you, dear and great and glorious friends from all over these parts. And there's that link if you would like to join. So please, in the meantime, remember, do not lose your faith. Do not lose your mind. Do not lose your composure. Also follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors. Forgive me. Do not lose your sense of connection. We're going to get through this thing together, brother. As a great Cam Fong, as Chin Ho said. All right? Good. Hang in there, kids. It was a pleasure being with you. I so enjoyed it. We'll see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. Don't forget to set your alarms and all that stuff. And make sure you are subscribed to Lionel Nation. Because sometimes people are unsubscribed for reasons I don't understand. And also, Lionel Legal, that's our sister station as well. In any event, dear friends, have a great night. See you tomorrow morning. And don't forget, until then, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Da-da.